This is so much quicker than I expected with the power figures. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over a 2020 Alfa Romeo Stelvio in the TI Lusso package. So, as always, a huge thank you and shout out to Alfa Romeo / Maserati here in Salt Lake for providing us with the Stelvio. Definitely check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get to the video. Now, under the hood of the Stelvio, we have a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that goes to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 22 around town and then 28 on the highway, with power outputs being 280 horsepower and then 306 pound-feet of torque. Let's go over the front end of the Stelvio. So this one is finished in Rosso Competizione, and hopefully I pronounced that properly. But this paint is absolutely amazing. You can see just how beautiful it is in the direct sunlight. And then here are the LED lights just down below. I've got the headlights turned on as well, so you guys can see what that all looks like. Parking sensors integrated at the front, and they've got the upside down triangle just like all of the Alfa Romeos have, which I think that's just a really cool look in general. I love how the front end comes off to these sharp points as well. I think it's a really cool, aggressive look. But overall, again, I just love the look of the Stelvio. It's just very classy, and it's also extremely unique. Coming around to the side of the Stelvio, we've got the tire and rim setup. So 235mm for the tires, 19-inch rims in the front and also in the rear as well. And then I love how they have the Alfa Romeo on the brake calipers and then the Alfa Romeo logo in the center. I think it's really cool. And then just the circle design, again, super unique. That's a huge thing about the Stelvio, is it's just very unique compared to other cars in the same category. And then they've got like the world's tiniest little fender flares that pop out and around. But let me just take a couple steps back so you guys can kind of get a full view of the Stelvio. Here is our key fob for the Stelvio. You have a couple functions. You've got your unlock, your lock, and then this will open up the rear, and then this is a remote start, and then it says Alfa Romeo at the bottom, and then you have the Alfa Romeo logo on the back as well. We'll do the remote start. So just like the key says, just press that twice. First time we'll lock it, second time we'll start it up. Does take a minute, and then you can hear that 2-liter 4-cylinder come to life. Now we are going to open up the back, so we just press that button twice, and then it'll open up the hatch of the Stelvio, and just look at the paint as it's going up, just with the different parts of light from the sun. It looks fantastic. But coming back here, we do get a little 12-volt here, and then this actually unlatches the seat. So all it does is unlatch it, because if you don't have that, you can't push the seat, and then basically you can reach over and push the seat down once it's unlatched. And then coming down here, just under here, you can see there's a little bit of extra storage space in the back. But in terms of like the rear area here, it's actually pretty good on a storage space side. And yeah, they keep things simple in the back. Now up top, you can lock the Stelvio from the out back here, and then also just press this, and then it'll lower down the hatch again. Now finishing things up in the rear of the Stelvio, I've got the taillights on for just a moment, so you can see they do these really sharp LEDs here, and I think it's a really handsome look. The Q4, since this has 4-wheel drive, and then notice this one actually has a little receiver hitch at the bottom, dual outlet exhaust, which they look really sporty even on this edition that's not the Quadrifoglio. But overall, I think the rear end is just really beautiful just from a design standpoint. So again, definitely sets itself apart. So now we're going to open up the rear in the Stelvio, and the door panel in the Stelvio is just absolutely beautiful. So you get this really nice soft touch leather with the wood trim in this Lusso package. Just looks and feels very premium. And then just down here, you've got some more soft touch on the bottom part of the door panel. But just look at the door in general from like a design standpoint. It's just very, very beautiful. And then here are the seats in the rear of the Stelvio. Again, they've done a really good job with the design. The feel of them is very nice as well. And, well, as always, we're going to pop in. Gotta kind of throw the key there, but, oh, hit the camera. Popping in here, it's actually really easy to get in, and it's a lot more spacious than I thought. You have these really cool vents back here that kind of twist all around, which I actually really like that. I think it's a cool little look. Do get a couple USBs down there, and there's a little leather armrest with a couple cup holders in it. And this interior just, again, it feels very roomy. It feels a lot more roomy than I thought it would be. Now coming up to the front, we do get keyless entry, so one touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, just put your hand on the back of the door handle. Now looking at the door panel here in the front of the Stelvio, it's just as beautiful as the door panel in the rear. So again, you get that really nice soft touch leather at the top with the wood trim down below, and then more leather, and just like the overall aesthetic appearance of the door panel, I think it's just really nice. You got your door lock and unlock function, and then just down below you got your little memory seats. All of your window controls, that's pretty normal. And then over here, we can see that we've got the seats for the front, very nicely bolstered, very smooth and soft touch leather. Adjustments for the seats, and then look at the pedals. Alfa has done such a good job on the pedals here in the Stelvio. They just look very premium. all of your light controls are actually up here. This is for your auto stop start to turn it off if you don't want it. And then you got your little parking sensors to turn them off. And then look at the paddle shifters. They are just absolutely massive. But one more look before we pop in. This is my favorite part about the Stelvio. The stop start button, just like a Ferrari, is on the steering wheel. That is just so cool. Like, it just, and the mirrors pop out by the way when you start it, but yeah, it has this such a unique feel to it just because the button's on the steering wheel. I know it's gimmicky, but I love it. Now here is the steering wheel in the Stelvio, and it is beautiful actually. Everything in the Alfa just seems to be beautiful from a design perspective. So yeah, you got the Alfa Romeo logo, and here's kind of like a really close-up logo so you can see all the elements in it. Over here, you've got your controls for the cruise control, and then notice you do have the little hill descent control, and again, the stop start button that you guys saw earlier. Voice commands, phone controls. So steering wheel is practical. I like the feel of it. They kind of got like a little flat bottom here on the bottom portion, and then notice that the steering wheel does not turn with the paddles. The paddles are massive, so you can pretty much reach them from almost any point, and ooh, the actuation on these paddles is fantastic. So yeah, that's the whole steering wheel setup. Here are the gauges, which definitely are on the simple side, which isn't a bad thing. You got the RPMs over on the left side. On the right side here, you've got the speed, and then in the center, gives you like a speed readout. You can see how many miles are on the car, temperature outside, all that kind of stuff. Even gives you a little compass, and lets you know what the speed limit is right now. So on this road in front of me, it's 30 miles per hour, so it's pretty neat. Let's get into the infotainment system here on the Stelvio. So first off, I'm gonna show you guys what the camera looks like when you put it into reverse. So you've got a little backup camera, and again, it's got those parking sensors, so it shows you on that little graphic right there. But the resolution on the backup camera is really good. I like the trajectory lines, and yeah, it's just that simple. The rest of the infotainment system can be controlled two ways. It is a touchscreen, so for example, I can press the navigation on the screen and then it'll pop up, or you do have buttons and a dial down here, so I can press this. That takes me back to that home screen, and then I can just twist this dial, and you can see that dial takes me through the different menus, and then I can push the button in at the very center, and that'll put me into the menu. So just push this in, and that'll take you into the menu. It's actually really easy to use both ways. I'm glad they gave you two different ways to use it, because then if you prefer a touchscreen or if you prefer to use a dial, you can do either or. But notice, like if I go into the driving assistance, it shows me all the different settings and how I can customize all of it, even like a speed limiter, which I think is pretty neat. But I'm sure other than the climates, I know what you guys really want to see, which is vehicle information and performance pages. So the vehicle information is pretty cool because this lets us go through the drive modes. So there are 3 different drive modes. It's the DNA selector, and that is just right down here. It says DNA on it. And if I just press DNA right there, that'll let me go through the different drive modes. So I'm going to go all the way down. This is going to be like your fuel economy mode right here. So notice that it limits the amount of torque and everything to help you get better fuel economy. This is your normal mode. It's the natural mode is what it stands for. And again, that one is going to just be your normal driving. And then this is the dynamic mode, which is going to be your sporty driving. And the cool thing is you can customize the suspension. So notice that this lit up, and then I press this, and then it'll put the soft damper active, or it can have it be a little bit stiffer. So if I put it back to the natural, completely goes away. But that's with the drive modes. With the performance pages all here, I mean, there's so much stuff that you can go through. Notice that you can change everything. So like I can go by drive mode, and it'll show me performance content. I can even go into technical gauges, and right now it shows me torque and boost. So like if I press the accelerator a little bit, notice that the torque shoots up just a little bit. So yeah, there's just so much stuff. You can even see consumption history. I mean, this literally gives you like every bit of information you could want to know on the vehicle. So it's pretty crazy. Overall, I think it's a good infotainment system. It's easy to use, and I actually really like the look of it with all these pages. I think that's just like a cool little look how you can scroll through all of it. Now here is the dual zone climate controls, and then it does have heated seats and a heated steering wheel, and then a little 12 volts right here. And if you press this, it'll cover it up. And again, very nice wood trim. It's got that very nice like grainy feel to it. Couple cup holders in this little area. Here's the shifter. Now if you're wondering how to use it, you just press the button on the front, and that'll put it into drive. If I just push it up, it'll push it in neutral. To get into reverse though, again, I do have to press the button. It does have that manual shift mode. Now you can use this, but I would definitely recommend using these giant paddles, because yeah, that'll be a lot more fun, and we will use those in the driving portion. But if you just put it back into park, it just kind of goes right back into place. Got a little parking brake right here. That's that drive mode select I showed you guys earlier. Volume control, and then the control for the infotainment system. So we got some little storage right here in the center console, and by the way, the top of it just feels very nice to the touch. Opening it up, Got a decent amount of storage space in there. It's a pretty nice little center console. I like how they have all those little compartments. It's pretty neat. But coming over to the glove box, it's just that little tab that you pull, and opening it up, you can see again lined with felt. Good sized space, and just look at the dash again. Nice wood trim, nice stitching, just everything feels and looks very premium in this Lusso package. Now up top here, we do get a panoramic sunroof in the Stelvio. The controls to the sunroof are right there. Universal garage door controls as well. Other than that, things are simple up top, and it has a very like light feel in the interior just because of how they let a little bit of light come through in the shade. Well, here is one more quick glance before we look at pricing here on the Stelvio in the TI Lusso package, and I do have a window sticker for you guys. So here is the window sticker. There is the base price, on the Stelvio, and then notice that you've got all of the standard equipment, and then you got the optional equipment. So like that TI Lusso package is a $2,500 upgrade. The exterior paint is $2,200, but it's a really good looking color. And then you have all of the other options. You guys can freeze a frame. I'm not going to go over every single option on this. Headlight washer is pretty cool. But there's the total MSRP on this Stelvio TI Lusso. That all being said, let's take this Stelvio out, see how she drives. Talk about visibility here in the Stelvio before we set off. So visibility over the hood, it's actually really easy to see out of. It's cool that it kind of like points off on both sides, so it just gives you kind of like an arrow of direction to go. I just think it's nice. There's visibility through the mirrors. Remember, they do have blind spot monitoring. There is your other mirror, and then here is all throughout the rear in the Stelvio. Now visibility in that very back part's limited by an extent, but again, you do have blind spot monitoring, so it kind of helps out with that. That all being said though, well, gotta do the shifter and let's set off. I'm setting off here in the Stelvio, and even though this again is not the Quadrifoglio, it's not really an entry-level Stelvio, but this is the entry-level engine. This still feels like such a cool SUV. It feels super unique compared to most other cars on the road, just from the aesthetics on the outside, but then also the interior feels really special too. The steering wheel is a really good size. It's really grippy as well. It's got like nice little thumb grips and everything, and just feeling those massive paddles on the back, it's so sweet. I know that it seems like I'm overhyping this car, but I'm not. I think that the Stelvio is super underrated. It's one of those cars where not a lot of people look at them, and I think that more people should, because it's a lot better than what most people think. But that'll lead us into going over the normal stuff, right? Let's talk about the the ride quality and the road noise. So in terms of the road noise, I would put this at about average, maybe a little bit above average for most vehicles at this price point. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot comes through. On the ride quality side of things, you definitely can tell that they have tuned this to be a little bit on the sportier side. So it's not the smoothest, but I'm sure that once we get up onto the highway and get to a couple of those larger sweepers, that we're gonna be able to feel the benefit of that with this having really good handling. And by the way, right now I am in the natural mode. So again, this is kind of like your normal mode, normal driving. And well, yes, we're gonna switch over into dynamic, and instantly I felt a change. The second I put it into dynamic, instantly gear shift, and it just, I really can feel the difference. Like the throttle feels so much more responsive. And we're gonna put it over into the manual mode here. Ooh, this transmission is extremely responsive. This 8-speed auto, it feels really good. And the actuation, again, these paddle shifters, I cannot stress it enough. These paddle shifters feel so cool. Just, yeah, doing the actuation on them, yes, that is perfect. So starting up here, we'll see how the upshifts are. Yeah, they're like instantaneous. And the downshifts, again, those are like instantaneous as well. Like just the paddle response is great, and the feel on these paddles, like they just feel so premium. And I know it seems like a silly topic to talk about, but so many car manufacturers have added paddle shifters into their cars. I mean, a great example is my ZL1 1LE. That has paddle shifters, and they're complete garbage. They're tiny, they're plastic, whereas these are just these nice big premium paddles, and yeah, they're good. I'm getting up onto the interstate here, so we're gonna get a little acceleration. Ooh, this is so much quicker than I expected with the power figures. Yeah, this is awesome. And those paddles, I know I keep talking about these paddles, but it's just such a cool feel. Like, I know this is an Alfa Romeo, but it kind of makes me feel like I'm driving a supercar, and just from like the steering feel and from the paddles. Like, the paddles are so responsive, they feel really cool. The steering wheel is the perfect size. This is such a driver's car. Like, I know that so many people that review cars say stuff like this, but this really is. Like, if you want an SUV that's actually a ton of fun to drive, this is it. Like, this just, it drives so well. I'm surprised this is an SUV, actually. Like, this doesn't feel like, it has that like higher seating position of an SUV, but it doesn't have that same SUV feel where it feels like sluggish and it feels like big and heavy. Like, this feels lightweight and it feels responsive. Again, this feels like it feels like a car. This thing is awesome. It changes direction so well. Jeez, yeah, this thing is awesome. I'm so impressed with this. I did not think, to be completely honest, I did not think I was gonna be this impressed with the Stelvio. I thought that, oh, it's just gonna be an SUV made by Alfa Romeo, but it's so much better than I expected. Wow, this rarely happens. Like, I review cars all the time, and you know, sometimes I have like expectations. Lost my camera there, but the brakes are good. Yeah, I have so many expectations coming into car reviews sometimes. Let me turn the turn signal off for a second. So many expectations coming into car reviews sometimes, and whenever cars like this just exceed my expectations, it's just crazy to me. It's always amazing. Now let's get into summing things up on the Stelvio, and yes, I'm keeping it in the manual mode because I'm going to enjoy these paddle shifters for as long as I possibly can. But just, again, this is such a fun SUV. It's definitely what I would consider, again, a driver's car. I would consider this one of those SUVs that you get if you basically you need an SUV, right? It snows where you live all the time. You need more ground clearance. You need all the practicality that comes with an SUV, but you don't want to give up that fun driving experience. This is one of those cars that definitely meets that criteria just so well. So again, if that's what you're looking for, then I would definitely look into the Stelvio because it's such a cool SUV. I think it's at a really solid price point for just everything this has, the interior and the exterior aesthetics. It's beautiful all around. So yeah, definitely check one out. And there we have it, everyone, the 2020 Stelvio TI Lusso. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Alfa Romeo / Maserati here in downtown Salt Lake for providing us with the Stelvio. Definitely check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you guys in that next video.